let's talk about Masters of the Air, Episode 9, the finale. I'll give my score first. So I gave this one, I was between a 9 or a 10. I think I'm going to go with a 10. I thought this was an amazing end to an amazing show. Sometimes endings can be really tough, but I feel like they nailed it with this one. The show overall did have some ups and downs, but I thought this was a really good send-off, and it forgives some of the lows. It wrapped up almost every character storyline. I say almost. We'll get to that in the spoilers.
I think I know what you're going to say.
And had some really great heartwarming moments between these characters we've come to know so well, as well as some really like bone-chilling and sad moments. And I thought it wrapped everything up, left me with a great feeling, and was a great episode. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. I would give it a 10 out of 10. You hit on the nail. A lot of shows fumble the ending, but this ending felt perfect. It felt cinematic. It had its happy moments. It's, like you said, bone-chilling, sad moments. The acting was good. Felt like a movie. It was like an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
There was conclusions for everything. There was good action. Finally got a little bit of ground war. Just a little bit. But man, I loved it too. And then, at the very, very end, after the credits, you got, the real life info on, where the characters ended up.
That was cool. I liked that.
Yeah, I liked that too. Yeah, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I thought it hit the landing, and I'm happy, and I'm going to miss this show.
I know, seriously. All right, so we're going to get into spoilers of Masters of the Air. We both gave it a 10 out of 10, so we highly recommend you go see it if you haven't. And after, you can come on back and hear our thoughts on the spoilers.
I'm curious to hear. So what characters of the non-closures were you talking about?
The biggest one was Sandra. Like, I was expecting something with Sandra, but it just kind
There's
of... Nothing.
We didn't even get anything afterwards.
True, I know. She's like a ghost, which I guess makes sense for a spy, but still, I was expecting something. I don't know. But yeah, in episode 8, it was like, we followed her, there's a scene with other spies, and then that's it. Don't know why we followed her, but okay, sure. That was probably my only negative of the episode, was that I was expecting that and didn't see any of it. Yeah.
It would have been different if, we only saw Sandra with Crosby, but, they specifically, like you said, showed her on her own without Crosby. They had a little storyline for beginning of an episode of just her. And, I feel like that made us think, oh, okay, well, that she's not just associated with Crosby, so she must be on to something.
That's exactly the feeling I had.
But they're nothing. But I agree. But yeah, that's just a little nitpicky thing, but definitely odd.
So the stuff at Stalag Luft 3, and especially after they started moving them, that stuff was brutal. Those winters looked horrendous, and they were marching a long way each day. They really showed how horrible it was to...
Didn't they walk hundreds of miles? I saw at one point it was 54 miles or whatever you want to say to Stalinberg 3, and then they still walked after that. I don't know if it said how much longer they walked, but yeah, that was some brutal winters. I mean, when they got to a camp or whatever, they would all huddle next to the fire.
Yeah, they walked 160 kilometers total, so 100 miles.
100 miles of walking in the winter.
In one of the worst winters in Germany, yeah.
Jeez, God.
And they really made it look brutal. Even at one point, the Nazi guy starts to fall over. He looked like a corpse, and then one of the American guys pulled him up, and he said thanks. And
yeah, that whole storyline was interesting because I liked seeing again Buck and Bucky's relationship. Buck kind of I don't know. He gets kind of antsy, doesn't he? We need to try to leave. We need to try to leave. Yep. And then Bucky's like, no. And then eventually Bucky's like, okay, tonight, I promise.
Yeah, because it was not looking good there.
No, and that was after they were walking for obviously forever. And then also they, when was it? Didn't they get put on a train too?
Yeah, they did for a bit.
And the guy freaked out because they were in that town. I don't remember. Because he was like, oh, we're in whatever this town is called. I don't remember.
Yeah. Was it Nuremberg? I think it was Nuremberg.
Something like that. And that's
I think
he's we're in the heartland, now we're in Germany. They were freaking out. And I think that's where Buck and Bucky and a couple other guys made that escape, right? Or Buck tried to.
Yeah, so Buck and a few other guys got away, but then Bucky got caught and luckily didn't get executed. someone else stood up for him and said that he needed him still. So
that's right. Have I been saying their names backward? Bucky or Buck is Elvis?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've been saying their name backwards. Jesus Christ. I hate how they
Yeah.
I get it.
But yeah, that was interesting how he got away and Bucky didn't.
I want to know the time frame. What was the time frame of when they got away to when Bucky made it back to the main base?
Yeah, I don't know.
But it had to have been like weeks, right? Or a month or two.
Probably at least weeks.
I think they left in, was it March of 1995?
45.
Or in May? I think it was May. 45, sorry. May. I don't know, either or. I would think it would have to take a long time, right? Because then he even made it to another base where the whole breakout kind of happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how long it was there. But...
And I don't know about you, but when we were following Buck and they get to that town, I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, is this a Nazi-controlled town? They're just kind of walking in the streets and then the people show up pointing guns at them and it's like, oh, they're Americans. Okay. Whew.
Oh, like a sense of relief. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, even before that, remember when they were sleeping in the forest and those kids, stabbed him and killed him.
Yeah,
one of the guys
killed that one of the guys, and then Buck had the pistol and was about to shoot the kid and decided not to, and then realized there wasn't even any bullets in the gun. But like that still was probably a tough choice. Like, it's just a kid, but he did try and kill you.
Yeah, and he stabbed and killed one of the guys with you. I was like, jeez, that was brutal. So there's that whole half, right? Bucky, the camps, having to walk miles and miles. And then the other side was at the base with Crosby, Rosie.
Yeah. So one thing I did like about the episode was seeing Rosie go up in that final air mission. And it just showed like it was just them. There were no Luftwaffe. They had completely taken them out. And that was pretty cool to see, like, how much they just dominated the skies. He did end up getting hit by flak and going down, and his landing, that shot where he's going down and you see his plane in the background and it's crashing, and
that looks sweet.
And then he lands
like really good.
And he lands right in the middle of an active war zone. Like, that was scary.
That was intense. Like, that was the first time where we've seen, like, shooting in war zone, like in no man's land, I think they called it.
And then you don't know which side is coming up to him, and he says like American Pepsi, Cola, like Coca-Cola. He just starts naming American things, trying to be like, I'm on your side. That was smart, though. That was smart.
Intense, it was. American Coca-Cola, Pepsi. That shot was cool. Like, of him kind of flying, you could see his plane in the background going down and like exploding. Like, wow, that was like well shot. Yeah,
it was really well shot.
And then like at the very end, seeing, after the credits, reading about the real people, like Rosie, he's saying he went on the most missions at, I think it was 52.
52. Yeah, that is crazy.
Like, 52, the most in the 100th, I think, right?
Yep.
It's wow. Can you imagine 52 missions?
That's insane.
I couldn't imagine one.
Yeah, no kidding. And then we kind of followed him on his trek back. So he landed, the Russians took him in, and he was like talking to their commander about how to get back. And they stopped off at one of the concentration camps. And that, I feel like, was one of the most impactful scenes and bone-chilling. That's the one I was referring to as the bone-chilling scene, is him walking around that concentration camp and just seeing the bodies. That was so
because I was thinking about it. They've been running missions this whole war, so did they even realize how nasty it was in a place like that? It didn't. I don't think so.
I don't think anybody really realized at the beginning. Like, it was after Normandy and they actually got on the ground that they realized how bad it was. Yeah, and they started finding these concentration camps. I don't know for sure, but
that's true. At least like to that extent, like walking in one.
Right, and I just can't imagine.
I was like, jeez. Could you imagine like seeing that like he did? Like, Lord.
No.
It made nightmares. And then I like that conversation he had with the man too.
Oh yeah, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was a real interesting conversation.
Him like saying he has no one, he lost everybody, and he doesn't know where to go, and yeah, it's so sad.
They said like God will be with you, and he's like, I don't know if God will ever forgive me or something.
I think it was more like he doesn't even know if God's real anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah, there you go. But then he gets back to the main base. I don't remember what the base is called.
Thorpe Abbott's.
And I like him and Crosby kind of talking. He's like, "Oh, she's pregnant," because he asks how his wife is doing.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. Rosie being like, "Yeah, you'll be a good dad." That was a nice, heartwarming scene.
And then Rosie getting all excited for the plane he got to ride. Well, who was it? When he was explaining to Crosby, like, "Oh, I got to ride this plane that was something with the president." I don't remember what he said.
Yeah, on his way back, he was like talking about all the places he went, and I forget exactly what he said, but
because they love planes. So.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting conversation. And what about Crosby? I forget, what was his whole storyline this episode?
I don't think we saw that much of him up until Rosie and Buck got back, and then they did that mission to drop the food for the Dutch.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was...
Oh, that's right, because then they had to go through the German air, see if they let them through.
Yeah, and that was so nice when, like, just seeing them be able to fly and do some good, drop in some food for people who are starving and meet no resistance. But before that... Before that, I think probably my favorite part of the episode was Bucky at that last prisoner of war camp. And the moment when they see that P-51 and everybody starts cheering and they get so excited, and then just stuff starts exploding and the Nazis are like firing on them. And
the tanks come in from the outside.
The tanks come in, the P-51's like striking the tower. Yeah, seeing that tank must have been a really cool, really good feeling. Oh man, I can't even imagine that feeling, seeing that.
Yeah, that was like the first big ground action scene.
Yeah, and I can't believe, and it probably did go down like this, like just how fast from the moment they saw that P-51, it kicked off, a few things happened, and then just felt like it was over, which, I mean, it was really cool to see, and I think it was good that way, but it was like surprising.
Yeah, it probably
to me.
did, you're right, probably did happen that fast. I mean, you got the P-51s, and then people resisting in there, and then you got the tanks coming, probably got overwhelmed pretty fast, I would assume. I don't know, I like that. That scene felt a lot like Band of Brothers, kind of the ground war, explosions everywhere, chaos.
And then Bucky runs to get the flag, and
and with Alex.
With Alex, and gets up to the top and throws down the Nazi flag and raises the American one, and then just hugs the flagpole. In that moment, it was like, oh, it's over, man. That had
then like they had the Nazis surrender.
Was that Eisenhower or who was that general? I feel like that general was important, but I'm not that up on my history, so
I'm not either.
I feel like for people that know, that would have been pretty cool, but I forgot to look it up because I wanted to. But
if you know, let us in the comments, because we're just two idiots talking.
Yep.
That was very. I liked after that. Everyone's shaking, cheering, high fiving.
I loved how that general treated the Nazi guy. He did give him a quick salute, but then he was so cold to him, just like the way he stared him down.
Because he didn't handshake him.
Yeah,
he wanted to handshake, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after all that, then it shows the gifts right there.
Yeah. To get the food to the Dutch. And I loved how they put in the flowers. Many thanks, Yanks. That was cool.
And then on the way back, Buck,
they get a message from the tower, and Buck's like, can you repeat that? And then it cuts to Bucky saying it, and it was like, oh, he's back. Yes. That was such a cool moment.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
I didn't really catch that it was Bucky at first, so they did that really well, where Buck noticed. Buck noticed, and he's like, wait a minute, I know that voice. Can you say that again? And then Bucky gives him the, like, you heard me the first time kind of thing.
It felt so good having them back at the base. Like, Buck and Bucky, like, and Crosby seeing them, like, the base felt like alive again. How long were they gone for? Like 18 months or something like that? 2 years almost?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I still think, I don't know, I thought Rosie's character was so interesting. Just kind of seeing, for a character that wasn't in there from the beginning, he was a really interesting character.
I think he might be, like, I like Crosby a lot, but I think Rosie might be one of my favorite characters. And the fact that he wasn't there from the beginning and he came in and kind of stole the show, that was that was impressive.
Because he wasn't in the first 2 or 3 episodes, was he?
Yeah, he was part of the people backfilling all the people they lost. Yeah,
it was kind of cool seeing him and Buck flying together.
Yeah, it was. That was cool. I love the moment where Buck was like, I hope you don't mind, I always take the left seat, and then Rosie just waits and stares at him.
Oh yeah.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's fine.
And then we got the announcement at the end of the war. He surrendered. Violence stopped 24 hours ago, and everyone cheering. That felt like I think then we got a little glimpse of Sandy, didn't we? And her spies for a second.
I don't remember now. Maybe we did.
Maybe not. I thought we got like a little glance of like men sitting somewhere and with
I think
like
maybe
spies.
we did. That part, I was just so relieved. I can't remember now. So happy and relieved.
I don't know, that part, obviously, everyone cheering, excited. And I thought that, like, after that, them leaving the base, I thought that was really well done because, like, I don't know, there was something about. So, first of all, seeing Crosby and Rosie talk, him saying goodbye, you're going to be a great dad, that was another good scene.
Yeah.
But, like, when they're flying off and, like, seeing, like, the children go over and run over there and then the townspeople, like, cheering them on, and then like it shows the planes go away, and then like the townspeople kind of just walking back to their houses, and like I don't know, it felt like it's crazy because 2-3 years, however long it was.
Yeah.
How long did World War II last? 2-3 years? 2 years? 2, 3, 4. No, it was longer than that. Anyways, for how many years they're there, and like all of a sudden 6. I said 2 years.
Well, I think the Americans got there later after.
Yeah,
Pearl Harbor.
I guess I'm thinking in the context of what we've seen in the show.
Yeah.
But being there for that long, and then all of a sudden, like the Americans just being gone. Like it almost felt like sad in a way. Like they built this relationship with these people and these kids. Got to see them build these planes, and they became friendly, and then it's done. Like it's a good thing it's done. But like I like the way they filmed it. The way they filmed it, it was like quiet, and the townspeople just walking back. Like, oh, okay, that's it.
It looks like it was just under 4 years from Pearl Harbor to the end of World War II.
Was the 100th there the whole time?
The first mission was in 43, so they were 2 years.
Okay,
just over 2 years, yeah.
So 2 years at that base. But I don't know, I thought that was a really beautiful scene of all the planes flying over, or like flying away,
and like
showing the empty base and the townspeople just walking away.
Yeah, I love that the townspeople came and saw them off, and just how it seemed like they were grateful. And yeah, these people had lived together for 2 years, worked together on something really important. It was definitely an interesting moment where it's like, it's over, but we're also probably not going to see these people for a long time or ever.
Yeah, like that was your home for 2 years. That base is now just going to be empty. Kind of weird when you think about it.
And I loved the credits showing all their like real pictures, showing what they got up to afterward. And I loved reading through all that.
And all of them, except for Buck, right? I didn't realize he had passed away like so young.
Yeah, I know.
But the rest of the main, like Crosby and all them, it seemed like they went to school, they got their schooling done, they lived 70, 80 years old.
Rosie went to Nuremberg as a lawyer to like prosecute the Nazis.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting seeing all where they ended up. Even Bucky's wife, or Buck's wife, passing away unexpectedly.
Yeah, that was sad. Felt so bad. The day after I watched the finale, I watched the Bloody 100th documentary.
Oh, yeah. I was going to watch that.
You should watch it. It's really good, especially after watching Masters of the Air, where we kind of have seen these representations of these people on the screen. Like Rosie is featured a lot in that, and it was really cool to hear the actual Rosie talking about these things that we saw in the show. Like, it was really cool. Crosby's in there too.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
It's on Apple TV as well?
It is, yeah.
Okay, I think it showed me to play it after this.
That's why I saw it. I'm like, I'm going to watch that tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. That'll be interesting.
It was really good. I really enjoyed that too. And I picked up Crosby's book, so I've started that one. Yeah, so I'm gonna read that.
Oh, let me know how that is. I think a lot of this is from his book, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from his book, A Wing and a Prayer, and then also there's a Masters of the Air book, I think, also, which I wasn't able to find yet, but I probably want to read that too.
Yeah, I loved it. This show was great. As a whole, what would you give the series?
That's a good question. I would say for some of the weaker episodes, I'd maybe bump it down to a 9, but it's still an amazing show. I want to give it a 10, but there were just some weaker episodes that I think maybe bump it to a 9 for me.
Okay.
But I loved it.
As a whole, I loved it too. Like, as a whole, I would probably give it an 8.
Okay.
And just because I do feel like there was weaker episodes towards like the first half of the season.
And also, I want to say that I have not yet watched Band of Brothers or The Pacific, so if those are like so much more amazing, I reserve the right to bump this down to an 8. We'll see.
I will say, I think this ending, I feel like this ending is more satisfying.
Okay.
But I think Band of Brothers, that's probably why it skews mine more to an 8. But yeah, I just think the beginning episodes were a little weaker. And then the whole, with Alex and that crew just randomly popping up in episode 9 for 20 minutes. So there's certain things that bumped it down for me. Yeah. But still, though, 8 out of 10 for me, 9 out of 10 for you. I mean, that's obviously
a great
awesome.
show. Yeah. Sad that
Another
it's over.
Yeah, me too.
But now I get to go watch Band of Brothers. Oh yeah, how did Kara like it?
Oh, she loved it too.
Nice. nice.
She loved the whole show, the ending too, and I'm actually surprised she liked the show so much.
I wouldn't have pegged this as a show she would like, so I'm glad she liked it.
I wouldn't have either.
Yeah,
but I
funny.
guess I guess it's like it wasn't all fighting and war. There's a lot of character development, but still I didn't peg it for so she'd like either. But no, she loved it. But yeah, now watch Band of Brothers. It's on HBO Max.
I didn't want to watch it yet. I thought about it, but I was like, I want to talk about this first. I don't want to like skew anything of what I or like get things mixed up. So I'm gonna start watching Band of Brothers tonight.
And who knows? Maybe you'll like Masters of the Air better because it's got what got you into this stuff, like this.
Maybe.
Showrunners, but who knows? I don't know. I'm curious to see what you think.
I'll see if I can watch it all this week and we can talk about it next week, but we'll see. I don't know if I'll be able to get through it all or not, depending.
If not, I mean, just tell me each week what you watched and how you thought of it. But sweet.
Cool. All right.
Another win for Apple TV.
Yeah, Apple TV's putting out some solid stuff. All right, and I can't say that we'll talk about the next episode next week. Oh, sad.
I know.
But we appreciate everyone for watching. These videos have been getting some good views, so...
yeah, it's an interesting show, and like just the history behind it, and it's taught me some history, just learning about these real life characters.
Crazy events. I feel like the documentary puts it into even more perspective of just like how much of a stranglehold the Nazis had on Europe and how much we fought to get it back. It's crazy.
I know. I need to watch that documentary. It's only an hour long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an hour. And who knows, maybe Kara will like it too if she liked the show.
She might.
Might be a little too dry.
After having the context of like the show, but this is a good one.